심지어 탐제도 토절나마 제가 산지에 부마를 보자 진리게 토바차 대체도 근데 잔주선을 라들은 수시는 나와라 심벌을 토와라 토제슈 만호 가지고 하는 가서 보고 다가 라미기 중딩이 337.
So we do whatever we possibly can to attain a state of enlightenment, as thus we set our motivation. But we know that in order to attain such a state, I need to perfect all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. To perfect them, I need to have a good understanding of them. I need to study them, and to study them perfectly, I need to be able to rely on a non-mistaken presentation of those teachings. So it is with this in mind that I'm here this morning to listen to an explanation on the graduated path teachings to enlightenment.
그랬다. 간제 지금 망체 로트 문바래. 아니 남들 사람도 장 사교래. 갈가면 교육 자대래. 다들 인베인사 당어서 개치슈도 가르스나 먼저 남들 년바다 시바장도 편도면도 개치슈 먼저 냠내가 자고 또. 강도도 뭐다 냠내 제인 삼삼천. 제가 개치고 싶어도.
And so since we are mostly older students here, and that we have had experience of the graduated path teachings several times in the past, and that in this context even, and so that we need to be able to set our motivation very precisely in this context, that it's not just about us listening to the Lamrim or the graduated path presentation. It's not just our understanding of it that's a key, but rather our practice, our integration of that into our lives, our putting what we know into practice. And so when we set our motivation, we should more specifically and more determinedly really set out to practice what we are going to listen to and what we will understand.
지금 사바지나다 당고 퇴고에 계신 보죠. 당고저 퇴고 갈가서 퇴사래. 다 양조 퇴는 가지고서 다 니도다 야내야도 삼로 당해지. 아니 삼로 당해 되는데 아니 먼저 다 검잡전에 다 세도 되죠. 검잡전에 아니 똑바퀴를 계속 제국도 뭐다 디체도 남을 퇴섬 지구고 열받다. 뭐다 딱저 뭐다 디체도 줘야죠. 딱 먼저 가서
So that in the context of any presentation in the Buddhist tradition, we are asked as those who are attending to apply the triple approach of listening or learning initially, and then reflecting on what we have learned again and again, the kind of like analysis, an analytical element, and then from gaining assurance for ourselves regarding the content of what we are reflecting on. Then we meditate on that and bring that to a realization. So this is the approach, this is the purpose for which we attend teachings, and so it's very important to kind of have that in our mind, and to apply that with the necessary mindfulness and alertness in our approach.
먼저 뒤교도 다 지금 소소 냠내 지금 속에 다 몰람 대기로 하고다 소소 배나 가서다 지금 라마 기회 신이서 아니 차라리 제수에 아니 산제 고마마도 봐도 아니 제수에 다른 신 모습 배나 또 마찬가지 좀 되게 말아서 다 또배 다 말아서 잡던 법을 찾고 된데 차라리 제서 산제 고마마도 보다 제수에 지금 몰람 잡대고 요 봐. 몰람 잡대고 요때다 문에 전에 가르스나 배나 기회신이 인바이네다 산제 인바이네다 니 용되기도 와. 니 용되 즉 난기 즉당 치직 받아 기회신이 처럼 저서 치 기회신이다 난기 기회신이지. 다 치 기회신이지 직전에 알아도다 가베가베 타를 뭐 용쓰기로 와. 그런 와. 다 난기 기회신이다 가서 다뒤 송에 다 가자제 최디 안랑이 냠줄 나야지. 다디 소소 냠줄 나와는 그 뒤에는 소소 냠도로 와. 아니 사람은 살아봐도 냠도래도 와. 아니 산제 고마 마도보도 냠도래도 디 소소 라발도 와. 다 치 계획신이 점점 소소 냠도 여다 매도 나서지려 와. 그러다 난게 계획신의 소소 다보게 소소 라발도 와. 언제서 먼저 디 다 만나와 지게 좀 다 먼저 산제 좀 되게 틀어져서 산제 좀 되게 수에 최대 먼저 냠줄 나와이나 아니 난게 산제 좀 되게 소소 다보게 잡도도 와. 서로 제송도에다 산제 고마 토토 중도도.
So, practitioners and those who are engaged in practice, they often accompany their practice or precede practice through making aspirational prayers, and the prayers often run as to really ask their spiritual teacher to be with them and to hold them, to protect them from life to life until they attain enlightenment, that they will make prayers to the Buddha likewise as their teacher, to their precious teacher, to again guide them and so on, look after them until they attain enlightenment. And so we have this, the concept in those prayers is that, there are two special or spiritual friends or special teachers that we are addressing. And that there is the external and the internal guru, as it were. And so for on the one hand, that the external guru, the manifestation of the guru may be quite distant from us, may not always be there and in actual fact to perform that role of caring for us as we have prayed. But we should always be aware that we have that inner teacher, that inner special teacher, and that is the Dharma that we understand, that which protects, that which holds, that which looks after. And so that is something that is going to be with us, together with us, from life to life, until we attain enlightenment. And it's very important that we understand that even though the external guru, the external teacher, may be distant, may not be available to us, that we have the internal teacher, our own understanding and our own conscience in a way, and that we should see that we have then the ability to apply the teachings, to perform the role of protection of ourselves in the context of applying or integrating the Dharma, and that is in our own hands, and we should be always aware of that.
먼저 처음부터 아니 산제 좀 되게 처럼 제수송아 안 다가는 지금 가서도 딱 말아서 남바이 바이인사 아니 저 잠도 잡송게 처럼 제수송서 뭘로 잡되게 열어 봐. 이네 다 들라 치다 낭니도 낭게 다 보자 되게 저 낭도 소소 라바도 와. 소소 라바도 와. 다디 임바자 디게 쳐보지 레트 거. 먼저 처음부터 너무 소소 제거에도 맞아 봐체. 아니 처럼 제수 와서 다들 치까 못 차되기도 와. 지금부터 다 소소 상계 좀 되게 소에 다 수준다 소바다 수준 잡아닝제라 소바 되게 돼 소소 냠서 나와 이마이나 뭐다 상계도 소소로 두고 다디 다보야 오잖아 아니 살아봐도 아니 되네 돼도 돼 다 상계 고마 톱도 좀 되게 도와
And so I say this because, sometimes there may be overemphasis on the help that is asked for and given by an external guru or an external teacher, and that we can be very, very prominent in requesting the Buddha to care for us from life to life until we attain enlightenment, etc. And so we may be requesting the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, to look after us as well until we attain enlightenment. But we should always remember that we have that the capacity for that care within as well, our inner guru, as it were. And so that we should not ignore what we can do ourselves in placing all our emphasis on what the external guru can do for us. And so it's very important to understand that, yes, if we actually integrate and practice our ethical conduct, patience, generating love, compassion, etc., all the other wonderful noble qualities that are described in detail in the teachings, and then we ourselves are doing the job of the guru, isn't it? And that we will be looking after ourselves from life to life until we attain enlightenment, when these qualities are perfected.
다 되게 가서 뒤제치게 아니 산제 내 당보와 지게 뒤제치게 산제와 남게 뭐 차상와지다 딱 대보체는 냠슬란 대보 수에제가 뒤로와다 뒤에서 다들 가서 냠는 게 제도 딱 공부티바 차대고 요봐.
And so particularly in the context of a graduated path teaching like this one, that we must look at it in the context that the teachings of the Buddha are vast and very, very diverse, and they in this sort of presentation, the graduated path presentation, they are complete and they are presented in such a way that they're easy to practice, easy to integrate into our lives. And so we should see this as an special opportunity to emphasize the aspect of practice when it comes to a teaching like this.
속장난이 ngapchunganga di ani kuso di jo lam atishne ni kyo mimba shenla densa mi nieba in songtele and menga di geshidon baladen the gudi
어디다 다 간제 나라도 람을 로블 제거해야 아니 랑이 유다 되네 소소 람을 로블 피디 냠네 지구도 피디 냠네 지도 피디 냠네들 이게 뭐 내내 파 지구 줘야 맞아 랑라 이 멜론샤자 아니 랑이 제데 안다 나라도 지금 람을도 투바 스토브도 좀도 어디 심주전 안 저거도나 왔다 예수이나 전다 왔다 야부 중샤 내 너무도 삼사전 아니 너무도 다들 못이네 부다다 그랬다 것도 어때 난 투바 조금도나 다들 넣으셨어 진 넣으셨 다들 아니 넣어지 아니 저 가서 죄답지네 아니 부다고 용하다 다들 말아서 멜론소로 전 멜론소로 제전 딱 이제 셰바 제대 나 부 마시바 셰바 되는 가서다 지금 냠내를 자네 아니 때 탈산제 고마 죽도 제고도 어때 다
So that in the context of practice, and that this is a practical text, that which we can easily assimilate into our lives, that we can really take that to heart. We really need to understand that this is like to hold the graduated path teachings up as a mirror, and to see how well we, in that mirror, how well we are behaving in accordance with those teachings. It's not any sort of permission to point a finger at somebody else or to critique how anybody else's practice is going and or not going, as the case may be, but rather it is purely a mirror to oneself as to how I'm doing, and if I engaging in accordance with the graduated path teachings and I'm doing well, I'm conscientious about what I'm doing, then that can be acknowledged and we can go, yeah, great, I rejoice in that. That's really
lovely to see in myself. I will now ensure that I continue like that and make that a really firm habit. And conversely so, if we see that we are not acting in accordance with what's presented in the graduated path teachings, that we admit that mistake. Oh, that was not smart, that was not beneficial to do that. I will see about repairing that to really not allow that sort of behaviour to become manifest again. And so we are very, very clear that every action is like seen as in a mirror, and to really apply what we know, to then also inform ourselves of what we do not know, to kind of supplement our knowledge, and to be able to ensure that what we are learning is purely for application.
아니 시행이 연대게 차내다. 랑이 끼게 차내 때지 끼려고 쏟았지.
And that if we want to pay attention to others, it's others' good qualities that we are emphasizing. And when we pay attention to ourselves, it's our own problems and faults that we need to focus on and to really overcome and to really purify. And so that with that emphasis, with that focus, we can see that we can gradually, in stages, improve. So it's very important that we look at others' good qualities and not their faults, because by pointing out others' faults, it's only giving an opportunity for our own mental afflictions to get in on that kind of game, to get involved in that. And so there's no cause to think that another has no good qualities. Everybody has good qualities, and everybody has faults as well. But in focusing on faults, we only give opportunity, and we need to give kind of food to our own mental afflictions. And so we have to be aware of that. And when it comes to ourselves, on the other hand, to be able to focus on our faults is very, very important, because after all, we want to improve, don't we? And that means we need to at least recognize initially what shortcomings I have. And it's only by recognizing them that we can then come up with tactics and antidotes to overcome them and eradicate them.
맹아디 기시 떠발을 때다 조지 바데 아디샤게 기시 떠발 때 콘템베 다고 칭길라 그랬다 라그 때문에 다고 칭길라 다 아니 신이 좀 때문에 칠레게 잡대 채워야 딜을 때는 좀 알았다 신이 좀 때문에 때 게니레 때 아니 레데 이내야 한베 다지 공게다 때발에 제제다 다시 산님이 잡으셔 봐 산님이 잡으셨다 공게 아니 저 람을 랑게 냠술라 아니 셀레 때제다 디토네다 저 가소리야 때발에 펜도 쉬우지 중얼하다 다 뒤단다 보도 펜도도 좋대게 열어.
And so we're going through the lineage of how this graduated path tradition has really come down through the ages down to us. And so we're arrived at that point when George Lama Atisha had handed down those teachings to the Geshe Drumdonpa. And then through that, particularly through it being handed down by Lama Atisha, it said that the Geshe Drumdonpa was blessed as a holder of those teachings, and that it also was the case that through his own enlightened activities, and particularly his own practice of the graduated path teachings, that others came to understand them and to have faith in those teachings, and so they became very, very widespread. And this was a very auspicious beginning, and that so it's that sort of indicator as to the importance of practicing what these teachings have. It's very, very important that they are applied in a most practical way possible into one's life, and so they become inconceivably widespread, and indeed we have them right up till now.
가사데 결혼 말에 라도 좀 말에 고된 개념이 다 기버와 기베데 이네 때발아 저 납치물 샤 도와 중하다 데 가다바 용적 아니 배 집에 쪽도 되네 다 가다바 기회신이 좀 어떻게 돼 결혼 괜찮아 결혼 괜찮아 데 이네야 다 dom을 붙여 데 답에 집에 쪽도 된 답에 라면 냠술라 아니 셴레 라면 때 진짜 가자데 가서다 지금 때발아 편도다 납치물 쉬고 제버거다 다 대인저 다 보는 땜배 딱 보는 가 수치네 가 수치 답에 가서도 가다 아니 때발아 저 납치물 주에도 보다 가자 라면 뒤 다지 챙이 제발 때다 중앙보다 냠술라 때
So Drom Tompa has a very special place in the history of the Lamrim, the graduated path teachings. So much so that even though he was a lay person, he never became ordained, and that he is really held to the crown of all the Kadampa, the great Kadampa monks, fully ordained monks. When they think about the most important figures in the lineage, that through Drom Tompa's own dedication, not just to Lama Tisha, but to the teachings that were handed down to him, the graduated path teachings, through his own practice of them and through his own teaching of them, that such incredible benefit has accrued throughout the years. And so the Kadampa Lamas who immediately followed after, they really held Drom Tompa in great esteem.
And diga debe be masa sunge ko be masa sune chi namjo ga king me ba sochi ta je gone shosna ta toga me ba sune yete chi an range nyam le yete be masa sune be ga shin me ba kaso 한발 쓰고 가서다 그저 be masa sune.
And he always maintained this incredibly humble demeanor, as if he was nothing, didn't know anything. He was very, 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 very humble, and that and really it showed, I think, the tremendous how genuine, how much integrity he had, and on that basis, this is really why the teachings have become so widespread and so reliable.
기시 장가와 인서 기시 보도를 장가를 다 야부 정말 공부 공부하려네 라면 나가 별로 제수 아는 건 라면다 로 디가서 샵지라고 개개요 말이 샵지 가서도
Drone.
로바 샵지
알아.
까에 매버전 소소 안다 최단가 배고 소소가 다 가르고 이 말에 디 보드 오브 디 별 보스 지케요 인지 뭐 디케는 페도 랑가랑 나빠시 투어 이봐라 안 나빠디다 그러 신규여도 자다 나빠디 삼아다디 안 domro boche pe kasor humble yoinsa tati ke sing yo mari denta ani ngapa de gora sing yo to doche ani kaza sana ani ta nge dobu de kye shusla ba ani dom ke do dobu de ke kaza sana ta thar mo ko ba ja bel motor yo marwa ko ba ani nge hango de kye shusan hango de dobu ka sha ke ba ta ko zo ani ta sungju nasa da ko ba de le ro chi de ani jaba su ge ta mi ge ta domro boche pe yo rasne ani kaso ta si welcome Siban tin show yourself Siban Sapang tin that take welcome jen oh pick it up mangoje Siban tin to tikari sule hinas ngapa dik la yin sarwa an tomro pati ngala yin beke res ngala yin beke ani ngapa de mo chata chen ani dredge ba ota tende ro ma ki me su chen ro da diri ga sana ba 지 기도 가셔줘나 기도를 치다 그러 라마 치부 인도 지가 얼마냐 tende ga ba da 배 가다면 쪼도 기게 저래 돼. 가서다. 배 지가서 미끼마끼마잖아.
So there's one beautiful story really to emphasize this tremendous humility with which Drom Tompa always, in the way he always acted, and that on one occasion he was invited to give a teaching at some distant monastery, and again, I'm not sure whether it was Geshe Chengawa or Geshe Potowa who invited him, the great lamas in their own right of the Kadampa tradition. And as usual, Drumtompa, he set out on the road, walking to get there. No attendants, nobody, no servant, no anybody, and just wearing a normal kind of cloak, looking extremely humble, extremely ordinary. And he, on the road, came across two Ngakpa, who were lay tantric practitioners, who themselves were dressed quite in quite great finery, and of course didn't recognize Drumtompa for who he was, but actually, among themselves considered him to be, obviously he's just a servant or something, very low class. And as they went along the road, they requested him to carry their own belongings. And Drumtompa said, okay, and put them on his back and said, here, my shoes, actually, I don't want to wear them anymore, you carry them. And so he was, as he went along, got loaded down with their belongings. And then as they approached the monastery where they were expecting Drumtompa, they could see all the monks of the monastery lined up in line on each side. They had their incense and their katak in their hands, of course awaiting the great Drumtompa. And as they got very close, then the Nakpas were going, what's all this, pageantry and show for? Who are they expecting? It must be somebody really special. And then Drumtompa said, I don't know, maybe it's for me. And then they realized, and they took off. They were so ashamed that they couldn't go any further. They just disappeared.
Not what runway.
real Nakpas.
Masasune. Tak jik mune tane ke jik kasode. Ta jik mune kasa. Ta de je ta ka je lojo tsige ma da je la suwa na shi jan ta ka je rang masasune. Ganga jibe zu du kun ta just pay to yo ba da.
So this was really setting a very important note and tradition there of always this extremely ordinary, no special, nothing special, very humble, a plain and ordinary kind of approach or demeanor. It was very, very important, and this is in keeping with like the great mind training texts, like the 8 verses of mind training, of being the lowest of all, and so on. And so this is really something that was very much embodied by the great Drumtompa. And I think this is actually a very, very profound example of how a real practitioner should really behave. And so it's in that sort of way to be always aware also of the from where the mental afflictions arise, and to always be have the mindset which is primed to combat, to oppose and apply antidotes to any such mental afflictions, etc. So this is actual real practice. And so then the lineage continues. So the teachings were handed down to Drumtompa, who then the great Drumtompa, he passed on or taught the master of spiritual practice, Gompapa, who in turn passed the teachings on to Nyuzurpa, then Takmapa, and then Kherchembo. And also the great Drumtompa Rinpoche he passed on these teachings to Chengawa Sulchim Bar, and he in turn to Chayulpa. And so in time, then the kind of two graduated path teaching lineages came down from the great Kadampa masters.
George Pande Adesha drummer bochela but catch position that suduma sunation and Casade drummer boche Shambala Nag Sumjuma Bunagdongala and Tinangato Yasho di Karam the Tessamaravis. So go that's the catch Mushuji by Za. Catch Mushuji by Za. That's Shabbat because of the Sangata, Chichi, and Jutata, Garazu Chidanta, Garazu Chidanta, Tawada Chaterwa, Sanga Sudata. She would go Sanga Twinjan Garco with the Lobson Jela Donashta Babche and Namet Jela Donashta Babche. That's Sanga to go San Diego, the leg on Shula Sangashi got teaching. You want to go to that didn't garage water. Tis a daddy, Lamrim Lobson Jela, Tamunatane, then by Yonzola Goacha Tone. And San Diego soon Yonzola and Yamle to each. When never should chat it.
And so, as we heard also, the trust that Lama Atisha put in Drumtompa is evident when Drumtompa himself, he asked Lama Atisha. He said, you teach the others the tantric. You give them tantric instructions for tantric teachings, but to me, you give me the graduated path teachings. And Lama Atisha responded to him, says, look, I cannot find anyone more worthy than you to whom I can entrust this teaching. And I think this shows too, it also really shows how there were very different kinds of practitioners even in those days, isn't it? That there were that group like very much prevalent nowadays who really only want the Tantra teachings. I want the Tantra teachings. I want to quickly attain enlightenment, but I don't want to do the study or the training involved. I just want the Tantric instructions. And so they have this sort of very short-sighted idea, and not understanding that any tantric practice must be preceded by a firm basis in the graduated path and so on. And so it's interesting to note that such practitioners were very prevalent in those days as they are now. And so it's very, very important to understand that the graduated path teachings are really within them is the understanding of all of the entire body of the Buddha's teachings to be put into practice.
람림 다 되네 냠셰 야고 매브체 아니 상아 대체 아니 간잠서는 녹타만 보지 용 되기도 참 맞아는 녹타에 먹고 요도 가서 상아 세게 되게 다 다나 장도가 거기 요래 아니 지금 아니 가서도 가서래다 탐에게 낭신 까고 요래 아니 디제마도 대대 탐에 코랑 삼로다 아니 상아 원슈원도 아니 녹타만 보지 욕도 망고 용한테도 하더래. 지제 가마가 자리 자한테 참 맞아 용한테 망고 용한테 문에 되나 딱 상하게 냠내 지게 지는데 용 미스바 소리 찬대요. 시대 람름다 되게 되고 롭좀 제 아니 냠내는 뽕제 아니 되네 아니 상하게 윤대 통제는 아니 옹슈제 냠슬랑 게 되게 욕도 용탐에 되겠지. 가서 욕도 되게 강하다. 그 탐에게 나시는 용 되기도 와. 용 되기도. 다가서 당분이 시대 야고 매면서 욕도 용
And so this ground and so the importance of the graduated path, the grounding in these teachings, really cannot be overemphasized, and we can see whereby people who haven't got the requisite experience or knowledge, who kind of want to hear about the tantric approach and want to enter into tantric teachings, take initiations, even empowerments, and it causes so much trouble, so much conflict in centers and in individual relationships and so on, because there's no understanding of what's really involved. That that the main emphasis in Tantra is that you put a stop to ordinary appearance, and that there should be conflict, and likes and dislikes and so on between tantric brothers and sisters. Is kind of like Vajra brothers and sisters should be impossible, because you have determined in a very determined way put a stop to ordinary appearance. And we can see that without the basis, without the foundation of the graduated path approach, that entering into Tantra in far too quickly, in a sense like that, can only lead to tremendous conflict and trouble. And so we can see that, as if Tantra was simply about performing some sort of ritual, leaving it at that, and not completely putting a stop to one's ordinary appearance.
상하 뭐지 마도 상하서도 초가당대에서 도지티고 쪼대에서 어떤 데서 뭐지 집으로 아니 되게 딜라 팬도면도.
And so it's like having no understanding of what's involved in Tantra, but simply reducing it to playing with the dorje and a bell, and doing some sort of ritual. And there's no benefit in that.
Yeah, the 말에 딱 가서 탐욕의 낭시가 가도와이나 여자 세상 콘도도서 줬어요 말이야.
And so once we really are putting a stop to ordinary appearance, there is no opportunity for attachment, aversion, and so on. And so to really support such an approach, it must have that foundation in the graduated path, not just an understanding of it, but the practical integration of it. And on that basis, then we are rendered suitable really to enter into tantric practice. And so even in all of the tantric texts, they describe the training in the common, the path in common, as like the preliminaries to tantric practice itself. And this training in the path in common is, of course, referred to as the graduated path teachings, the sutra path teachings. Very, very important. And so it's really only on the basis of that strong, firm foundation in these the paths in common, in the means the graduated path, the sutra approach, that we can then validly and honestly enter into tantric practice. So again, in the text, it describes, one's progress on the perfection vehicle will take you to and as far as the 10th bodhisattva ground, at which time you are obliged to enter into the tantric path. And so you can imagine that a practitioner on the 10th Bodhisattva ground is a very high level practitioner. They are at that point then qualified to enter into the tantric practice. So it's not to say that we don't have an opportunity here now, but it's not enough to just see ourselves as fortunate beings, as to have this wonderful opportunity, but that we actually use this good fortune that we have to practice what we understand, to put it into practice.
그래서 먼저 상하게 옹슈에 딕바사에 락살을 먼저 왔잖아. 개와사에 락살을 줬다 왔지. 개점으로 와. sometimes 상하게 딕바사에 락살을 치네. 진행가도 와.
So we must remember too that, you know, just as you know, the tantric practice has the potential as like a tool for the generation of tremendous virtue, it can equally, when it's not understood, be a tool for the accumulation of tremendous negativity. So we have to be very careful in that regard.
Tena gishi chomchen boche jenga tsujin par sungshen te ja yu bala sungpe kadam musa dangma bana gyube lamri nije gyube asa lamri nije ta jizyo chue ije bo zonga ba chenpyo asa loja jubchen lengi doje la se je ya toba rinpoche asa gyube shini bodo wala sung te asa gishi deba shara wala sung be asa kadam shumba bana gyube lamri je.
And so that's the two distinct graduated path lineages coming down from the Kadampas. One is referred to as the oral tradition, and this begins with the great Lord of the Dharma, and the great conqueror Lama Tsongkhapa, and he passed this on to Hlodrak Drukchen Leki Dorje, and then the other comes from Drum Rinpoche, and he passed it on to the spiritual friend Potowa, and he in turn then to the spiritual friend Dalpa, and then on to Sharawa. And that refers to that second listing from Drum Tompa Rinpoche. Is referred to as the classical doctrine or the philosophical doctrine.
That's a kadam dangaba shumbaba and mengaba sumyogudwa.
And indeed, within these two, there's a third tradition. So we have both the philosophical lineage or classical lineage, the instruction lineage, but also then a Lamrim lineage itself. And so then, so from J. Rinpoche, Lama Tsongkhapa, and then through the great abbot of Drakor, Chogyap Sangbo, and then from up till the list up till this point is set to the succession of the graduated path lamas, one from the other, is said to be in accordance with the veneration of the Lamrim lineage lamas texts, and that this is a particular listing or lineage that's found in that text.
안 담바다 제수도 뭐 양양도 제 셰스네다 저 롭도 다인데 양양 제 양양 제 담바 양양 제네 다 아니 보도 와라 소바 숨보 안 저거라티 안 아디셰 차 지워 샤는 제를 뭐지 차 지워를 샤네 아니 담바라 자와 전부 기당스다 담바라는 편도 전부 기다 아니 장주 주바다 셈제가 된제가 좋아다 저 다기 계스 내지니스 이 소면 미나와 교수 와사래 담마도 중심사 어떻게
So also yes, that the great Lama Tsongkhapa at the beginning he received the teachings on renunciation, the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, and the correct view, the three principles of the path, or three principal paths, from, of course, Manjushri. And that he, of course, integrated these and practiced them. And then, a short while later, while Lama Tsongkhapa was staying at an isolated place of Retring, which happens to be at the place of Drumthompa, and Drumthompa founded a monastery there as well, and he received was brought to him this particular statue of Lama Atisha, which was famous for having a tilted head, and that when this happened, he entered into a month-long deep prayer and meditation, making many supplications and so on, and that in the course of that he received visions during that time of the whole lineage of the teachings from the fully enlightened Buddha down to Namkha Gyaltsen, the great city or Siddha of the Southern Rock. And that also in particular he received visions of the great Lama Atisha, Drumthompa, Potowa and Sharawa. And that and in that time he received teachings and instructions many times, over and over again. And at the end of that period of a month, he, in the vision, he saw that Potowa, Drumthompa and Sharawa, they absorbed into Joa Lama Atisha. And then Lama Atisha came and placed his hand on the crown of Lama Tsongkhapa himself and said, you must do great service to the teaching. I will help you in working for the benefit of living beings and achieving enlightenment. And after which Lama Atisha appeared. And there were many amazing and wonderful signs that occurred at this time.
아니 롭종 지에 왜 있나 최고 롭종 타치 뭐 용아 되려라 가서라다 즉 당나 장에다 아니 즉 가서다 즉 가서다 즉다 지게나 가서다 즉 포지티브 삼로다에 또 네거티브 삼로다 마땅하잖아 어데 대체베이나 아니 간잠서는 레다다 치네 아니 기부 담바 셰스게다 아니 송주에다 되니 요구요사래 당 알아서 삼로배 마티 바잖냐 삼로 땅 대와인다 용해요 바로 아니 누가 들으면 뭐 소소 커요 해지 그러나 아니 가져다 먼저다 미 똑바 차버든 줄 아니 남도 차는 마기요 뭐 차되게 좋아 소소 남도 없어요 야 가서는 당나자 아니 저거 아니 가서도 연행의 차내 삼로 땅 지도야 대대가 돈이야 가서도 저거 최다 좀 남자야 보더니 용해요사래 봐 좋아. 담이다. 제가 뭐 적고 나왔다. 기부터 뭐 산님이 잡아래. 아니, 대대 받아다 연구로 와.
And so, like from our position whereby we can seek the blessing of the holy beings. We try to engage in our study as conscientiously as we can, our practice, our integration of what we know as conscientiously as we can, training in the teachings, hopefully generating realization of what we have studied, that this is the process by which we can purify our appearance, what appears to us. And so it's in this context, it's as we say in the West, like to think positively, not to be indulged in negative thinking. And in this way, one begins to purify one's karma, and therefore one's karmic appearance. And when that occurs, the instances like have just been described here, with Lama Tsongkhapa receiving visions and so on, this is no longer surprising, that we have rendered ourselves capable of being able to perceive in this way. And so it's very important that we see that all of this is interconnected, the way in which we purify our karma, maintaining kind of as pure behavior as possible, that we will gain this kind of blessing, this kind of pure vision, as opposed to constantly doing what is incorrect, of indulging ourselves in doubt and superstition, causing ourselves through our own superstition and misery and conflict within. And so this is not the way to be able to either gain trust in this kind of vision or even to experience it for ourselves.
남도 장장 삼로단 용 되기도 또나 야고치다 다 지가소라 시다게 가서도 지가소도 가서도 다 지 야가 촌나 삼로단 쪽인데 녀가 시하면 도와 먼저 누가 촌나 삼로단 쪽인데 녀가 사도와 저기 야고시네 야들라데 남도 지그서 야마기 버체 독자시는 시에 먹어 버체 다 먹기 용거로 와 누가 지라면 고마기고 연구로 왔다가 남도 야고시네 야 남도가 양마기 버체 되게 다 가서 소소 남도 수용 것도 왔더라 되는 마기 버체 아니 강가다 마찬가지 되게도 와 되게도 왔다 되도 왔다 가자 다 단다데 가라서 빼나 가라서 저기 컴바이네 장마수 아니 그 정말 좀 빼나 초가다나 다가로 와 아니 네 교연돼서 봐 장네 아니 저 가서다 저 가서다 다신게 남바다에 아니 랑게 류기 교연되게도 봐 장네 아니 하이 나바 거미에 아니 최자라서 와들거든 다바람 장 바시 거미에 다가제 인데 가라서 도다시 도와 다들 가서 딜라 때네 아니 다베 나와 차도에 중고 열어 와 근데 뷰다다다다다다다 치네 안 디가다 지 장주 가서 년중다 장선다 동네 답에 샤답다 데데그 심베 톤에 지용한데 안 가서는 아니 다나 차도에치
So this sort of, on the one hand, it's a bit like the glass half full and the glass half empty, but taken to a more extreme, that from our own experience, we can see how negative people are determinedly negative. It's they're always in conflict. Even if good things happen, they turn them into bad things. And not to mention bad things, then they make themselves even more miserable. They're kind of fulfilled by such misery. we see they have a black attitude to life, really, a negative attitude to life. And so they not only are downtrodden by the negative that occurs anyway, but they willingly, bury themselves in misery even when positive things happen. See the negative in it, and so this is showing how it works in a negative sense. That can be easily, but then from another point of view, those who have a more positive, more optimistic, and more life-affirming view of life can enjoy the positives that come along, but also if they have the training, can transform the misfortunes that occur into something more meaningful as well. And it's a matter to, what mental view you approach life with. And so this is what all of what this is about, that we can, when we are engaging in activities like the preliminaries of our practice, of cleaning our place of practice, of cleaning our house, that we are removing the iniquities that are seen and unseen, and that we are making clear offerings on our altar, and that we are engaging in that which is pure, that which is positive, moving towards the ultimate aim is to, in the tantric prerogative, is to see everything as pure appearance, to as it were, constantly supplement whatever we can to be able to increase that attitude of clear, pure appearance, to transform a place into a pure realm, to generate ourselves as the deity, purely, fully enlightened, without fault, and to sustain that reality as much as we can. And on the basis of that, like within what really serves as the foundation of that also is to inform it with the renunciation, the mind of enlightenment, the correct view of emptiness, as like the foundation which holds up the possibility of being able to see all with pure appearance like that.
근데 공공공 아니 규지다도 전에 가자잖아. 안 당랑라잖아. 아니 지금 산재 모수 제자거든데. 아니 다들 용되게 열받아.
And so once we habituate with that way of thinking, with that world view, that we can purify our vision more and more and more, until we ourselves see direct vision of Buddha Shakyamuni and other enlightened beings, just like Lama Tsongkhapa.
다 반제 저 네거티브 잔자 삼로 당근 오다 거야 요 말이야. 근데 용하게 거야 요 말와. 이 용하게 파장 소소거나 먹기 버전 대대래. 안 가서도 버전 요마 차야
But if we are really only supporting solely a negative view of everything, and then I think that's not going to happen. We're not going to get such visions. And we're not going to experience anything but misery ourselves, and indeed it's going to cause a lot of conflict and problems. And so then how, when we talk about these descriptions like these visions for a month from Lama Tsongkhapa, etc., so how does that come about? It comes about just like has been explained, that one is able to really fertilize really constantly that pure vision, that pure appearance of being able to support that in every way possible in all of our life.
다나 자와이나 산제 메사가 사요 말이야. 가서는 산제게 구두 송조래. 투가 저를 꾸이 잡아. 꾸가 저를 투이 잡아. 근데 이면서 산제가 투마 잡아. 내내 버려. 근데 자 그 다나 자와이나 다나리. 아니 다나 자도 삐다다다다다다다다도 줘도 아니 뭐네 거란데. 아니 산제 제투에게 아니 레기 넘버 미바다. 가서다 가제제 바도 주제 집어들 파다운데 산제 차원이 좀 그러다.
And so, really, it's the Buddha is there, waiting really for our vision to be purified enough to be able to see him, because the Buddha is omniscient. That means his mind is in all places, and so his body also pervades where his mind is. So his mind and body are in all places, and so it's a question of our being able to purify our own vision. To eradicate obscurations and obstacles, to clear the way, to be able to actually see what is already there, the Buddha.
나라도 담으시나 상계다 미규마치잖아. 미규마들 시야요. 상계를 시라자 미 메시지는 먼저 누가 가리는 제 두고 와. 미 통보면 되나? 근데 미 통보면은 상계 가봐이는 요래가. 다 산게 요래 삼삼다 되네 먼저 나와카라 요 말아. 다미 통고면도나 아니 내가 눈주이네 그 요 말다. 미 마도나 틱틱 요래다. 가서 딱 먼저 그 산게라 산게가 연내 가서 먼저 통고도. 아니 먼저 냠내도 가서 용사래. 좋아.
So, in many ways, like I see the Buddha as more pervasive than ordinary beings, because we often have the impression if there's nobody around, then there's nobody around. But the Buddha is there. The Buddha is present. Wherever the Buddha's mind is, there the Buddha's body. And so that we shouldn't think that we have some sort of license to engage in negative activities when there's nobody around, because the Buddha is present, is there. So, it does depend on to what degree we understand the qualities of an enlightened being. So on the other side, and of course the other side of that the more we have the certainty of the Buddha's presence, even like within us, that to that degree we will put a stop to all negative actions and thinking. And so it's without that, we were left in the kind of a dichotomy of when we're in company, we behave well. When not in company, we behave badly.
Politician
like a politician.
Camera,
when the camera is present, the politician is very, very cheery. And
what's the chat? 나라도 심지어 탐지도 산재 고마 중에 있어도 또 산재 연대의 신고도 산재 연대의 심이나 아니 다 산재 주위에들 다 좀제대로 도와 거주 친구도 와.
So there's quite a lot of meaning in this, because after all, if we are making our motivation constantly to attain the state of enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings, it stands to reason that we should understand what enlightenment is. What are the qualities of an enlightened being? And that in this sense, knowing how the Buddha is all pervasive is something that can be very, very meaningful and very helpful to us. And so then wherever we are, to understand that the Buddha is also there, and that has a profound impact on our positive side of our behavior, is of course something that can be very, very meaningful, and by sustaining that reality, we have every hope of being able to see Buddha directly.
One time, because put coffee at
and you can have a coffee together with the Buddha. Chai latte.
디면은 그래서 먼저 단다데 다나 중에서 다데다 다 좀을 해서 나와 같이 살아 봐. 정보셔이나. 땅가라조다 대바요래. 오. 제일 먼저 삼디 미자버리셔. 왔다 되는 용적으로 삼사 중으로 와. 다 디면게지 미셔 바지다 아데다 다 가스. 삼로 쇠샤바리야 삼사 용식으로 와. 그래서 무슨 남도 사보러 가라조라.
Yes.
야, 다 되는 용쳐야지.
So I think too that when we have accounts like this one, that for us who have great faith in Lama Tsongkhapa and great trust in Lama Tsongkhapa, that it's something that's very conceivable for us, and when we can generate faith on that basis. But for those who don't have that, they can easily dismiss something like this as a mere story, isn't it? A made up sort of fairy story. And there are many who like to create such stories anyway.
similar thing is kayo mare kasana zuma so mabu yorwa ne kayo mare
And so there's no fault in that really, because there are many who make up stories anyway.
so mabu yorwa what that
It's common practice.
what that is an dana de yongna de ko sem ge gyong ge cha de pa pa down de ni gibo dang ba na wa ye chi yong de ko ju de de wa ji yorwa.
So that I think that here what's being presented is that one is really cultivating pure appearance is conducive to being able to see holy beings directly, and that when you look into it, and you can see that there is a cause and effect correlation there, a valid one.
다 대세서 대세 kenje 수보 군조 배상보다 아니 가서데 로젠 잡조 배상 라소바 남제스 고알라 되나다 부기슈 고알라 되나 아니 장조 남리 좀 제바데스 제바이 라사.
And so then, as a result of all of this happening, and shortly afterwards, indeed at this time it says, the great abbot Zulpua Konchok Pelsangbo, and together with the great translator Gapchok Pelsang, they exhorted and really encouraged Lama Tsongkhapa to begin the process of composing the great treatise on the path to enlightenment.
what is 남리 좀 이제 자주 나와 이거라 뭐 다 지주 안데 자주는 다 제를 못 쳐라 네 지주 잡아야 가서 미투 하나씩 요한테 있다 자는 제를 못 치고 아니 가서도 제를 못 치네 가서 가서도 다다데 지주 잡아야 태가 숨주 쉬어야 돼 요한테 요래 뭐든 다냐마 토마토데 아니 다 라마 우마바게 다 저기 디바살라 랭킹에 소스 라마 제 가서 다다데 자베양 지진 자베에게 라마 우마바스 우마베 에 맞아 양 제르보제 지와단게야 라마 우마바게 제르보제 디바사 이데르체 아니 남시나다 아니 제르보제 태가르 셰시 용테치 미드미나시 셰시 용테치 어때다 다까지 지진 자베양게 자베양게 아니 얘기 때문에 년중 장생 양다베 남촌 얘기 때문에 년중 장생 아니 가서 다와 양다베 다와 남죠 거네 집에 남들 두고 요 말라서 마디바 이남 숨발라 어다 데데 메스 두고 요스 교메데다 두고 요데 네디게 람르 마티 다디 가서도 자좀나데 데데 안디 가서도 두고 요데 이네 다디 가서 다 하고 교도데 게메스 교메데 데숨게는 다 지지 잡에 수면 남전 남son데 소도 제네 자와 제제 디데는 남전라 소베 롱기 카칸체는 기부송게 남게를 만 자와 인스 셰슈발라 소베사 상와 산지 미제바시 예베서.
So then these two and others then exhorted Lama Tsongkhapa to compose the great treatise of the stages of the path to enlightenment, and he began that process. And at this point, it is to be understood also that Lama Tsongkhapa had such a close relationship with Manjushri, Lord Manjushri, that it was like person to person talking. Prior to this point, he could communicate with Manjushri, but only through an intermediary, Lama Umapa. And so it was the case then that Lord Manjushri had something to impart to Lama Tsongkhapa. He would talk to Lama Upapa, who then would relate that to Lama Tsongkhapa, and if Lama Tsongkhapa then had questions, he would ask Lama Umapa to pass it on to Lord Manjushri. But thereafter, then Lama Tsongkhapa cultivated this very direct communication with Manjushri. And so it was at this point then that this conversation took place. So Lama Tsongkhapa is composing the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, and Lord Manjushri has a query. He says, I have taught you renunciation, the mind of enlightenment, and the correct view, and so aren't they aren't they complete enough in what I have given you? And Lama Tsongkhapa says, well, there's no fault in that, of course. I have taken those three as the main emphasis of the text I am composing. They're like the essence, the lifeline, the very root of that text, and then I've supplemented them with quotes, citations from Lama Atish's Lamp of the Path to Enlightenment, as well as others' texts, and I have just combined them with the stages of the path for the three capacities of being. And so there's no contradiction in what I'm doing here. And so these kind of conversations and many other inconceivable events took place between Lama Tsongkhapa and Manjushri.
근데 이제 다른 것도 남som래 람르르 다 다가 제르 모친 거 손티게 간가 지단에다 토마 도바샤제 tude son en tene ta ka je jaga ge ta ka je da penti da tu che la so tene ma kyun ta je bo chen ta ma yin de chen ta je bo chen la ma uma ba la so tene ma kyun ta je bo che pa do ba ta ring gyu chen te ta ni gyu je ba yin na an je ju jambe yang ge ta sang ge jom de de so je ju jambe yang ge ne an je bo che ta ni gyu 예외 규바체바이나 람예보 규바체바이나 와다데 잠배장게 내 마규젠다 가자 규바체 자네 자초는 소리치.
And so, on the one hand, we talk about the lineage of the graduated path teachings, and of course, even the three principal paths that coming down from, of course, Shakyamuni Buddha himself, down through great pandits, scholars, masters, or through the ages, Lama Umapa and so on, and then down to Lama Tsongkhapa and so on. But also there's like the inner lineage that can be described, whereby the essence of these lineages, the heart of these lineages, have been passed down directly from Lord Manjushri to the great Lama Tsongkhapa.
But 저 하장에 다 제를 보죠. 송도 지랍 좀 보시고 차대도 답변 좀 맞대네 맞지. 맞규용 대체라 지금.
And we see that in the within that lineage, Lama Tsongkhapa is of course especially blessed because of what has come down directly from him.
남자들 benne다 제대로 잡아야 야나 다 제를 보시 규가 제대로 잡아야나 난 제를 보시 규가 제베자 초고돼서 다 제일 아마 데닐라야 다베 규가 쓰마 저다 가서다 다까지 로망도 좀 알렸다 근데 규바사 로망도 좀 알아 아니 랑거를 몇 규수야 데니도 좀였다 기든 어디는 좀 아니 겨우 사봐 yap세제 세베 규바니에서 제를 못 채자 아니 계속 취재체 아니 두제 잡아 잔세체 아니 기도 취재 아니 제시럽 생게 두제 로드 배봐 배제로서 취재 다 제자조 배사 제주배 원주 로산 두두 제 산제 이시 배제 탐제지 뭐 로사 취재 제자 안 도지지 뭐 군조 제자 배사 뭐 아니 되니래 다기 취재까지 톱스다 다다디 제가 뭐 배제 군대 봐봐 어디 숨어다 어디 일에 어디 도와이 속도 어디 쳐.
And then it continues the lineage, which says then, so Lord Lama Tsongkhapa had many disciples who understood this lineage of the teachings. Among them is the Lamrim lineage of the conqueror Ensapa and his disciples. And so this continues from the Lord Rinpoche Lama Tsongkhapa to Gyaltsab Choje, and then the Vinaya holder Chakpa Gyaltsen, and Kejub Choje, then J. Sherab Singhe, and the Vinaya holder Lodro Bepa, and Pension Choki Gyaltsen, and Jagab Cho Pelsang, and Kejub Wanchuk, Losang Tondrup, J. Sangha Yeshe, Pension, and all the great pension. Oh yeah, Losan Choki Gelsen, the great pandit, omniscient pandit, and then the Vajra holder, Konchok Gelsen Pelsangbo. So this is the author of this particular text, who indeed is the fifth Panchen Lama, fifth Panchen Lama, who is really reciting out of the great appreciation. He said, through the kindness of all these, I, the author of this book, received this teaching.
penangara chacha na ta lingre bochi kundune kukuba kundune labri chaza shunyo ane dena de ta jambur bochi kundune de labri char khashe chire wata de cha wata ka ta jiwa so wata de
And so then it continues right down, and Geshe-la is saying then from to right to me, I can say I have had this particular teaching from Ling Rinpoche, and indeed the previous Ling Rinpoche, and then also I've had the graduated path teachings several times from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, 14th Dalai Lama.
lokase kola labri tije jubden sonswa di chaza dingela labri tije geje sonswa tije ge labri mirawa ge martin and then tije jubden ya labri mirawa jubden da watiga matiga da kaje jota jawn ko labri sarma buthabta ma
So many times I've heard, like several years ago, His Holiness was giving teaching based on
one is 1980 something, maybe 8 Lamrim, because Lamrim teaching.
There's like a collection of 8 Lamrim texts, and then
later maybe 17.
And there's another 17 collections of the graduated path teachings, and he gave a teaching based on those. And so I have received those teachings from His Holiness.
But no practice.
Forgot.
What the Kajakawa Sabojo, Takaje, that tribute the Cubaji over Yina, and Jilla Chayo.
So that I feel very fortunate to have received really the blessing of that lineage. Having received the teachings, you definitely get that blessing of the lineage.
No, Jawar Butcher, Lincoln Butcher, and did quando Pabonga Desinimo. Pabonga Desinimo, better Casata Tabujabe, Luduxi.
Dakpa.
Tabujabe, Tabu, that Tabulamar Butcher, Tabulamar Butcher, what did it? Tabulamar Butcher.
And so then from my more immediate lineage, this is from the previous Ling Rinpoche, who in turn received these teachings from Pabonka Rinpoche, Pabonka Dechen Ningbo, and he in turn from his own root Lama, who is Dakpa Lama Rinpoche. So this is how it comes to here.
Cuba Paramachi, Mengada, Tebas, Getchmucha, because Jilla with Junso, the Getchmut.
So it's just really, this is all emphasizing lineage as being something quite very, very important, and that it is an unbroken lineage in order to be able to receive the blessing, the accumulated blessing of that lineage. So in order to be able to really attain realization, after all, that's what we want. We want to attain realization. It is important to be able to receive instructions from an unbroken lineage. sikje tama di yangna ni je tamje kimba di yu shantak chiktu yangna je tamje
chola je lama de ni la ta be kyuba swa lam ge be kyu su ya de ni de chung me ja sa ge ba sa ba ya so de ta ba de ke de de sa so
Dejo sason ine di sikje tama di
양나 제 탐제 여사 제 탐제 쳐 봐. 제 실업 생이야. 도지 맨다 봐. 양 제대네 도지 잡아 견세. 제 실업 생기 맨다자. 대다 제 단위 첨비여서 자주 남미 첨부 전에서 라야 남미 첨부 슈전다 각주 개발남 조바 전에서 조바 샤다 조바 전에 닝베 내는 마사와는 레버 뒤에 라면 추와제 대단하야 뒤자 남제 로유 투 제시를 송하되는 마티 될람 개와 탐제 개바 챔비어스 자베셔로 라브리 자베셔로 잡아나 개들 참신 롱리게 타쳐봐 아니 란지에서 공부하느나 다 소소 남의 제바이나 남의 제토바이나 미쇼바 미도 다 대부도 거에 미도 미도 장 다시 고수 다시 받쳐들 고도스 내 채와다 라니 소나게 사자 충시 로이 투충와라 남게 르바 딜라 아니 고와 띵주바 식차나 다 데데 차이치도 데데 차투와 이나 안 살람 투보 제줘발레 야 내채와 삼내서 디 내가 채와 개채와 삼내 살람 투보데 제주 제바 데발레 안디 내채와 개채와 디베나 셔바도 용투고 요바로 어디서 내채와 삼내 남게 장다 고름 람소소 고번남 란지에서 르 강보기 디발라서 어디서 강보기 디발이스다
And then it covers like some variations in the lineage or other lineages of the graduated path teachings. Again, starting from the omniscient Lord, meaning Lama Tsongkhapa, down to the Lord Sherab Sengye, and then Vinaya holder Lodro Bepa, and then it says from there on the lineage is the same. And then there's a third variation, again from Lama Tsongkhapa to Gyaltsab Churje, and then to the Vinaya holder Jakba Gyaltsen, and then the Lord Sherab Sengye, and again it follows from there on, the same as the other lineages. So there's slight variations in the different graduated path teachings. And anyway, in this, it's just pointing out, in this way the great Lama Tsongkhapa came to compose the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, and that this was a very seminal text that really included many quotations, scripture references, refutations of others' viewpoints, and establishing proofs for his own viewpoints, and that. And thereafter, because it was so comprehensive, he also afterwards composed a more concise, complete, and but yet essential summary, really, not summary, but a smaller version of the graduated path teaching, which became known as the shorter, smaller graduated path teaching. And that it became obvious then that because of the deterioration in disciples' ability to understand, and that their insight became weaker and weaker, that afterwards came other graduated path teachings, who are nevertheless, replete with quotation and reasoning, and very suitable and so on. And just the same. And two of the most prominent of those were the path to bliss, the cosa Losan Choki Gelsangi Zabapoti and Delam. Yeah, and then also the text known as the oral instruction of Manjushri, which was composed or received by the fifth Dalai Lama, the great fifth Dalai Lama. And so, and then So it is really this particular text is based on those two in particular, and so here that's why they're mentioned here, and so the and he's saying, like, the author is saying that based on the foundation for a good understanding of the graduated path, he's saying, to my mind, is far more important than searching for a very advanced understanding of the paths and stages, because it is such a foundational teaching. And so therefore, based on whatever I know, I will write as clearly as I can regarding the number, the subject matter, the sequence, and the nature of that path.
야보지 통하는 엔디 슝들 러비아 쪼아기에다 드리 켜봐 요구요와 어떻게 저 왔다 가지 좋다 우리 가서도 제가 비치와 아니 다가니 생각 아니 최되게 치와 다 최디다 유연대 그러다 배달라면 때마다 저게 또 치와 예제 탐자랑 가도 또 치와 딱 치와 시대때 막 있으라 가서 가서 시요다 가다 때마다 저게 또 치와 수라마를 담아도 치와 예제 탐자랑 가도 또 치와 개혁 공부 때라도 또 치와서 간다 뭐다 치와 되게 유연대 아니 되게 치와 되게 최대 아니 년당 그래서 년고렸어 아니 너 교수 방당 어디서 가자 남들나 개고 용되고 어디서 되어서 뭐 어디지
And so then we come to based on these particular presentations of the graduated path teachings, then the more normal outlines begin with an outline referred to as the greatness of the author. And so this is normally some brief biography of the author of the text, and indeed, as we have seen, also the lineage, in order to develop an appreciation for the author, and therefore an appreciation for the text itself, that one will be encouraged not just to study it but to put it into practice. Two volumes when it comes to the when we go into the lives of the lineage of the graduated path teaching. So there's two great big volumes which deal with that. And then the second great outline will be talking about the greatness of the teaching itself, or the Dharma. So it's really particular, saying what are the particularly wonderful qualities of the graduated path teaching. And it's normally numbered as four great particular advantages. One is that it presents all of the teachings of the Buddha are shown to be without contradiction, and another is that all of the teachings of the Buddha will appear to one as personal instruction. And somebody so, and also that through our practice of the graduated path, and that we will be able to overcome all negative habits and behaviors. They will automatically disappear or be gone. And also and then of course all the positive attributes, all the positive conditions, and all the positive
개요 공부 델라도 또 비치와 산지 공부디
And
델라도 또 비치
and indeed to the attainment of the state of enlightenment itself, the state of Buddhahood will arise quickly. And
너는 개 말해 개요 공부 산게 좀 된데 투공디 아니 남양 학고 두야지
oh, sorry.
산지 teaching 타야 봐줘 봐 나도 산지 투공도 가르쳐 델라도 학고 두야지
Oh, so well, one will come to understand the true intent of the Buddha's teachings quickly and easily.
아니 학고 두야지 다 뭐들 다 dom쳐보시기도 dom쳐보다 네 시대를 삼로다 오 라면 그 부딪히기 나로라 아니 제외 속으로 다 해봐줘 다 되게 돼 안다 간자제 되게 공부할 때 라도 렌트에 아니 지금 개도 못해 아니 지금 간사지 상계에 남들 힘발라 아니 도투에 렌트에지 뭐다 용되기도 하다
It's really quite something.
개요 공부할 때 라도 또 배치와 아니 가서 송라마를 당라도 차도에 여러분 송마을에 땅마다 차도야. 딱까지 되게 지금 치와 시대 삼로다는 오 고주 신부 시우도. 고주 신부 시우지. 동 신부 시우지도. 다들 남는 거 연대식이요 봐. 배제 되게 연대식이요 봐.
So actually there's really quite something in those four, isn't it, when you actually reflect on them. I say that here in one text, in this one presentation, this graduated path presentation, because when you consider, the teachings of the Buddha are vast, really, really vast, but that somebody has really taken the trouble to collate them in such a way that all of the teachings of the Buddha are seen to be non-contradictory to begin with, that you can, all of the teachings arise as personal instruction, that you can overcome all your negativities based on these teachings, and that you really come to know the true thought of the Buddha and to be able to attain enlightenment.
딱 이제 간제 저기 베네차에 가서 낭배 낭로래 베네차 잡아나 그래서 대 가서 다다대 다다 공 가서 빨리 두주시는 방법이 대바치 뭐 사제 송 바레스에 들 용되게 요래 그러와 안 다가는 생이야 대바치 뭐 켈렘 그날에 대바치 뭐 상가데 안 산제 송 바레스에 되게 용되게 요래 가서 라문 그 고아를 레마도 같이 차대도 다 라문 고아를 레도 봐이나 이 아버지 시바이나 Sanskrit tradition inata, Pali tradition imata, so imbayine, and Gave Sunganala tutu yobachi. Sanjig Sunganala tutu. Sanjig Sumbanala, and Kellen 2H. But a Pali imbayineta, Sanskrit tradition imata, Kari bayine, couldn't yet do Rangi, Tabachi Bosing the Yonti Yore, Takanishi, Tumdashi Yonti Yore. That together, and Sanjig Kumbayima, shed to Chungutua. 다들 되면은 배는 남바 이해 라글라글이야 산제 송가시 켈레 마도 같이 가서나 리베텔라 파트고요 말와 리베텔라 파마도 아니 소소티다 도스 미트 말레어도 어디 산제 송 말이 세지 대자데 개요 공부 달라도 또 투에지 온도도 와 그래서 세 찾아
So the other really wonderful attribute of the graduated path teachings is that one comes to an easy acceptance of all the Buddha's teachings, and that because they're all within there. And so this is in contrast to, for example, nowadays we have many of those practitioners of the Pali tradition who simply cannot accept that the Mahayana tradition is a valid teaching of the Buddha.
Maybe now a little bit better. Before, now a little bit each other understanding more close, quite understanding. Before, even Nagarjuna time also. Yeah, because Tebachi was Sanjay Swing, but Mabutuko. Because to be killing him ever to go.
so that there had to be a lot of in Nagarjuna's time, a lot of reasonings to establish the Mahayana teachings as the genuine teachings of the Buddha. But for those who just couldn't accept the reasoning or couldn't
no, somebody not accept that reason. Nagarjuna so many different angle we put reason this is Buddhist teaching. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If they easily accepted it, there was no reason for the very extensive reasonings that are very prevalent in the writings of Nagarjuna. So you could see that this sort of tension was there at that time as well. And of course, not only some people not accept the Mahayana as genuine Buddhism, but also, of course, the tantric teachings are, again, they would say they're completely beyond the pale. They're not the Buddhist teachings. But within the Lam Rim, or the graduated path presentation, you have the capacity for a deep appreciation of the Sanskrit teaching, the presentation, the Pali presentation, the four tenet positions or holder tenet views, and whether we're talking about the hearer vehicle, the solitary realizer vehicle, or the bodhisattva vehicle, that here it's all supported by the content of the graduated path teachings. And so this quality, this attribute of being representative, the graduated path teachings being representative of the entire body of the countless, really, Buddhist teachings, and that they arise without contradiction, is something really profound, and a profound positive quality of the graduated path teachings. Oh yeah. And so that by being able to see or understand these kind of qualities, then we have a deeper and more profound and more comprehensive appreciation of the content of this kind of teaching.
Zambuling nalo kalab nani chuli tunde kalab nani takancha lamrimda dezu ningbote sunglu pego yorbata wa sange digi ningbote takancha kamda meba nasoba jiba yinza ane chigi ganga deba kanto yomaris ane de gogudos gogures mindaw gogure wada ganga yonde sung tugudwa 그래서
이게 럼시기
그러니까 jamgo는 뭐 제가 zambuling la 폐 zambuling 기억나 보면은 아니 출루 튼데다 출루 그거 연대 속도 와 딱까지 라면도 되서 인부디 렌 속고 열와 로아 가서는 미캄다 메바 삼바 나서가지 와 진짜 뭐든 나서가지 고고 여봤다 되게 가서는 대바 탐제 게임에도 또다 대바 탐제 뭐가 다 가다데 가서로다 출루 민자와 되게 대 파소 게임에도 렌투에 가서 캄다 메바 민자와 용기 그 자체에서 쏘나 그래서 미상주 약게 당와라 강가를 연대 되겠지.
Yes, and indeed that this capacity of the graduated path teachings to be able to kind of hold the essence of be it the Pali tradition, the Sanskrit tradition, the tenet systems, and so on, really is that which promotes harmony as well. One can see the necessity of and the value of the different Buddhist traditions as appealing to different personalities and dispositions of individuals. just as His Holiness is constantly going around the world promoting religious harmony, with that very same concept that because of the diversity of human disposition and personality, that therefore different religions are necessary, and therefore different religions should be respected and appreciated, and that this is a kind of an essential point. And this is really only applying His Holiness the very essence of the graduated path concept as well. This concept of that all the Buddhist teachings can be presented here so that they are not in any way contradictory. So it's a really kind of vast mindset that comes up with this. So that's it's also really putting it up to us, the ones who are now training and studying this, that we also extend and really apply this vast mindset, this open-minded attitude. So and so then in briefly then we have the teachings originating in this era with Shakyamuni Buddha. They're coming down through the two great divisions of the vast practices lineage and the profound view lineages, and these both were held or seen to be held by the great Lama Atisha, and then Lama Atisha's coming to Tibet, and that again was really painting really the picture of what was the situation when Lama Atisha came to Tibet in the Durab Geba.
Lama Atisha ta Durab Chukchi Darwa. Ta ngel böle chek sanjing tema chaten.
So that is prior to Lama Atisha's coming, like in the 8th century.
No, Lama Atisha's I think 11th century.
Yeah, and prior to Lama Atisha's coming in the 11th century, then in the 8th century, there was a great degeneration of the teachings in Tibet. This was due to the rise of Langdharma, who really wanted to promote the previous animist religion in Tibet, and also destroyed whatever monasteries were there, and was kind of very, very detrimental to the Buddha Dharma and became a kind of a dark age in Tibet for a few hundred years, in fact, and that at this time coincided with the rise of.
No, I think long time make that teacher long time to give long time call böyle gelon sumadım hala. Hani gelon sum döçi var. Döçi ne? Şajon var. Ham var ma döçi. Döçi de gelon sumadım hala ma döçi var. Hani duye beja ma bu keçen. 잡아다 네가 나다 teacher 딱 아직 그래서 가서 때마다 냠자 치고 싶으시네. 때마다 냠자 치고 싶으시. 아니 되네 다야 때마다 직 다와는 때 랑다마 똥을 제라 근데 때마다 다와를 때 근데 다 벽지라 뭐 이게 뭐요 말이야 벽 강가라 온대 이거 충주라 한 소수도 bom부터 제대네.
And so that in this not just the kind of Dharma situation degenerated at that time to the point where there were only apparently three fully ordained monks left, and they escaped, carrying with them quite a lot of Vinaya texts, but also that the country kind of fell into sort of confusion, so that there was no single power center, no single king, for example. There was a lot of individual kingdoms and principalities, and so there was a lack of cohesion in the country.
시험에다 뒤에라 벽 톱쇼도 배치모 있어. 다들 속고 자나 아니 벽 에시안가 걸 톱치야지.
So and just in contrast to previously to that, in previous times, of course, Tibet was the preeminent power within Asia at that time. So if you take Mongolia, China and Tibet in those days, of the three, Tibet was the most powerful at that time.
Yeah, and 이내야 다 계급 소수고 조 제저의 벽 계급소고 조 최고 돌아지. 최고 돌아대. 자나게 돼 조 찹시게 돌아지. 소고고 조 마게 돌아지. 배톱치 무슨 저기도.
And so, but then you could see that during that time and immediately following that time, the Tibetan great Tibetan kings placed all their focus on spiritual matters and in furthering the Dharma within Tibet itself, whereas it can be said that within the Chinese power structure, the emphasis was on politics more than anything else, and within the Mongolian power structure, the emphasis was on war and waging war.
What did it top shooter so what did it? In a dark eye, I'm in a jello pellet junior long time much on that Sanjay Tebanam Jack, did some master, Bill Chapsy like you just shoot water, and Bill cut
And so then, so in brief, though, we can say that through the rise of Lang Dharma, the Buddha Dharma really degenerated in Tibet, and indeed also the country fragmented.
And that kind of man, and the jello that Bill doing what on that tricky Jubachi, and what that degenerate under the Congress under the Halama Ishiwe get that. 조 덴티 슈에 체도 다 간제 지금 셀만고 탑시당 직제 아니 다워체도 아니 골로 개보스근데 배제 카지 유도하지 인사 다 간제다 아니 디 아니 쩌는 주제나 다 간제 쩌는 주 이주 조제 덴티 슈에 체도 난 쩌는 주제 마다 아니 콩게 차우 하주는 뭐지 하주 게 안다 안 지거다 류다 주다 데 개보 되게 셀 코랑 수저지 고유스 다 코랑 수저스 탑치 땅단 수부제다 중어들 고자지 말하네 안 땅에 저거 키랑 루투사 요정가라 두 가지 루투사 요 루투가 이나 다 셀디가스다 고자만도 아니 샤바틱소스 아니 데도 안데 제도 아니 보다 셀테 모스 나리 가제 되면 로출라 되게 말해 벽 산제 되면 제 편도 제투 말했어 딜레 셀디 켄에 자갈 주스 안 조지 반데 아디샤 된다로지 안 된다는 조지 페로지 슈로지 아니 얘기 아니 다 지금 벽 셈쟁거 된다라는 키랑 펜에 아니 담발라 편도 지로지 아니 얘 리고데 딱 간제 별에 키랑 된다고 생게 려바 인스타 간제 어디 슈로 조 니알 켜로지스 아니 디시도 아니 미게다 조리야 조제 대리 쉐데 슈데 아니 저 오다 배우기 개보데 자주세베 남주랑 레샤 디인사 자주세베 가잖아 되게 말했으는 별 폐기 있어 시시 나와라.
And so, and so yes, the country fragmented into different kind of kingdoms, and one of these in the west was ruled by the great Dharma King Yeshe Wo, and he could see how desperate the situation was in Tibet, and really set out to accumulate enough offerings to be able to go and invite great pandits from India to re-establish the traditions in Tibet. But he fell into the hands of another bandit king of a kind of, I think he maybe was a Muslim, and he held Yeshe Wo captive and demanded his whole body weight in ransom in gold. And his nephew Janjuk Wo set out to try to gather up this necessary gold, and had reached the point where he had enough to ransom his body but not his head. He hadn't got that much, and so this conversation took place with his uncle inside the prison and his nephew outside, pleading with him to do everything he can to get released. But Yeshe Wu said, no, enough. I'm old now. I think it's much better you take that gold and do not pay any ransom. Go directly to India and find this great pandit, Lama Atisha, and really request him to come to Tibet. I think this is the most important thing for the benefit of the teachings in Tibet. This is the decision, and please tell him that I have given my life for the teachings. And so it eventuated, and eventually the Janjupo arrived in India, found Lama Atisha and related to him the whole story. And then Lama Atisha said that indeed your uncle Yeshe Wo was a bodhisattva, and so it wouldn't be right for me to refuse the request of a bodhisattva. Therefore, I will accompany you back to Tibet. So there's a very long, account, and it's not necessary to go through it all in great detail.
the dojitela pe dojitela ne the drene kundula sunde che chikchanta che bela pe bana tembala dodon ka jara pena ka de kasar ota ka ja jizun joma ge ne sung jene ta bela pe ba ina pe mi se tembala pendo chimbu yongres ina ya lo ni shu gon chu lo ni shu an ta short life lo ni shu tunga de gres ina tembala pendo she mixege ubasiga stu gres ta dom de basu gres ubasiga stu gres tembala pendo lap chimbu yongres ota semjala pendo jo sanje ge tembala pengi de na nga lo ni shu chungal do la ke ke mi do san Georgia pay to the chapel.
And so at this time, Lama Atisha was a member of Vikramalashila, one of the great monasteries of India at that time. And of course, he was already the preeminent scholar of that particular establishment. And so there was a lot of wheeling and dealing, let's say, to try and get him released from there. He wasn't being let go very easily. And he went himself to Bodh Gaya at one stage, and there's a very famous statue of Tara there, and that he in front of the statue requested advice on whether or not he should be going to Tibet, and the statue responded. Tara responded to him and said that if you go to Tibet, there will be tremendous benefit for the Buddha Dharma and to human beings, so sentient beings, and in particular you will meet one upasika, a lay practitioner there, Dromtompa, and on that would be extremely auspicious for the teachings. However, if you go to Tibet, your life will be shortened by 20 years. And so Lama Tisha didn't hesitate. He said, whether my life is shortened or not is irrelevant. If the teachings are going to be benefited in that way, I am definitely going to Tibet. And so that was really the really definitive decision for him to go. So again, it's really showing what a profound holy being Lama Atisha was. You know, we didn't pay much attention to the shortening of his life because he knew that the teachings were going to be benefited. He could see what was more important. And so then also when he was requested to teach in Tibet, he was asked to teach on the law of cause and effect. And he was extremely pleased by this. That it was and so that that the king who requested the teaching from him said, we don't need something very, very profound or very famous teaching, but please teach us about the law of cause and effect, because this will be of most benefit to Tibet. And Lama Tisha was very pleased by that particular request, and this was what inspired him to write the Lamp of the Path to Enlightenment. And so he's referred to in that text as the kind-hearted disciple, and it was Janjab Wo actually who made that request. So for us who are listening and explaining such teaching, we have to really bear in mind the tremendous sacrifice that somebody like Lama Atisha gave in order for such teaching to be established and disseminated in Tibet, and that he really sacrificed his life in a way, isn't it, for this. And so it's something that we should add to our respect and dedication to the teachings ourselves. And so
he really stayed 90 years, but he stayed short life, 70 years.
So yeah, he was meant to live 90 years, but he died at 70.
Yeah,
so in order to benefit the teachings, to bring about the teachings. So let's leave it there for today. I think it's very useful to read these biographies every now and again, that to really see how much was sacrificed by these great masters and these great scholars in order to bring the teachings, and in order to benefit the teachings. It's something that can be really quite inspiring.
벽이 로사와서 자가 롭좀 지가 또 강에 갔어요. 자가 밴디다서 벽을 배도 강에 갔어요. 벽 자가 사와치 뭐래. 남식 사고 쪽으로 와. 아니 벽에 빼장 와. 와. 아니 다는 사에 빽빽 로가로 왔다. 나 내다 먹을 아니 저다. 뭐다 요 말에 남도 요 말에 고바장이 쪽으로 와. 시우지로 다치 와. 로 다치 시우지로 와.
So, even if you consider the hardships of going from Tibet to India at that time to get the teachings and the great translators and so on, and, going from a country which is a very cold and then to incredibly hot and humid India, totally different culture, totally different scene, and that, the many dangers they went through, and so many died and never got back. And that, and indeed, for the great Indian masters going the other direction as well, going from what they were comfortable and used to into a snowland. You know, it must have been tremendously difficult for them.
That no airplane, no car.
No air conditioning.
That's
Very, very amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. 다다다 모두 미가 지게를 미가서 자갈을 줘. 자갈을 줘야 돼 봐. 얘는 자갈 시기도 생각 못 와. 뭐 나사에도 저거요.
Yeah. So you can tell even nowadays, you know, when we Westerners want to, you know, we want to go to India, but we go, oh God, you know, the danger is there. Disease and how dirty it is, and you know, unhygienic and so on. You know, we're kind of like full of fear.
나도 가서 샘전을 팽거도나 산디게 때말을 팽거도나 나도 되게도 쓸려버렸다.
Yeah, so this attitude of that if it can be a benefit to the Buddha's teachings, if it can be benefit to sentient beings, makes no difference to me. It's incredible, amazing.
근데 료다 첨부 제와서 딜료다 첨부 정도 로동다 첨부이나 단단히 저분을 판도도 와.
And so you know, you can see also that such sacrifice and such dedication is still renowned at this time as well. So there's a lot of impact in being able to behave in that way.
나는 코나주기 뒤쪽에다 배제돼서 수입 빠르잖아요. 욕하게 요 말고. 근데 다 샘전을 팽배쳐도 다 데리가서 뎁디gen서 오, 되네.
And also, like all of what they have composed, these amazing texts that are composed, there's no prohibition on photocopying them, because you know, there's all for the benefit of sentient beings, all for the benefit. As opposed to modern composers, you know, there's copyright laws and all this kind of thing. You cannot photocopy any more than 5% of this text and so on.
네, 다 문화장 가서 들이가서 뎁디가 망자 코피 오라더라. 되네 도스케 백텝 쓰고 여러.
Yeah, and so even those these books that have such strict copyright laws on them are indeed simple compilations of information taken from this one and this one and this one and put together. That is not even their own stuff, and yet they've got copyright and claiming it as their own. You know?
all money,
So we'll do our Lamrim prayer. From my two collections, vastest space, that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined. May I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. Human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.